Hello students, welcome to Kenny's Educare, a group of Kenny Solutions. This is part 2 of lesson number 15, Improvement in Food Resources. So in this part, Improvement in Food Resources, if you remember in part 1, I gave you the basic introduction to the lesson, right? What exactly happens in uh, what exactly we are going to study in this lesson, improvement in food resources, where we studied about some most of the important concepts like kharif crop, rabi crop. Then we discussed on genetically modified crop, what are the ways how we can improve the agricultural practices, because what's happening, the demand for food is increasing but the land area and the methods, if they remain the same, it will become very difficult to tackle the demand of the growing food, right? So for that we have to make sure that we are coming up with certain improvement techniques in food resources, and we know that there are two different resources from where we get our food, that is plant and animal, right? So plant is like one of the basic food resources that we have, apart, and that, like, through agricultural practices we are able to grow plants. And secondly, we get food from animals as well, right? And that is through animal husbandry, right? So I want each one of you to please revise whatever notes you took in part 1, because there are many different concepts that you have taken note of, right? So please revise it, everyone. I hope every one of you are revising each and everything that you have taken note of. So the first thing that we have over here is introduction to the lesson. So if you can read this part once, everyone. And once you read it, you will find out that over here in this introduction slide, they have made us aware of the importance of the crop, right? So say, all organisms require food for their survival and existence, right? For surviving and existing, we all organisms need food, right? So only green plants are autotrophs, and other animals depend on green plants directly or indirectly. So the organisms, or like the ones who can make their own food, they are called as autotrophs, and we call plants as autotrophs. And the reason is because they can make their own food, whereas animals depend on green plants, right? We are also dependent on plants and animals for our food. So other animals, they are also dependent either directly or indirectly on these animals for food. Okay, so our country ranks second in population growth around the world, and it is increasing day by day. So the we all are aware that population is increasing day by day, and we are currently ranking second in population growth, if you know. And but after COVID, the situation has changed. Now our population has increased a lot. Like China was the one with most population, but now we are also leaving China behind, right? So our population is increasing day by day, and to feed such huge population, we require millions of tons of grains every week, every day, right? So it is necessary to increase the production efficiency of crop and livestock, that we need to maintain, that we need to make sure that all the humans on earth, they are actually getting food to eat, right? And for that, we need to increase the efficiency of the food crop as well as increase the livestock production. Okay, so I want you all to just write this, like all the important points that you find out that you should take a note of, as this is the start of the lesson. Please write it down, everyone. So I hope every one of you have written this. Now the next thing that we need to discuss is how exactly we are going to improve the crop yield. Okay, so for that we have it over here, types of crops to discuss for that. So see, the first type of crop that we have is cereals. Now cereals is like it includes rice, wheat, maize, millets, sorghum. They all provide us with carbohydrate and we know them as cereals. Okay. Then after cereals we have pulses. Now pulses include lentils, gram, peas, beans, right? And they all provide us with protein. Then after cereals and pulses, we have oil seeds. Now oil seeds include sesame, mustard, linseed, groundnut, sunflower. They all provide us with fat. Okay. Then we have vegetables and fruits which provide us with vitamins and minerals. We have spices which includes black pepper, cardamom, fennel, cinnamon, cloves, right? And lastly, we have fodder crop. So fodder crop includes food for livestock. So it includes oats, Sudan grass, sorghum again. Different types of crops require different climatic conditions, temperature and duration of light. Okay. So I want you to write about these types of crops in your book, everyone. I hope every one of you are writing this. After studying about these types of crops, we will be discussing on the crop season. And we have already discussed in short about the two different seasons of crop, that is Rabi season and Kharif season, right? So before we move on to it, I want you all to be clear with this part. So please write it quickly, everyone. So you can get a question writing about write few examples of cereals, pulses, oil seeds and all. And they can even ask you to write the sources of food that provide you with carbohydrate, protein and all. So make sure you know it. Okay? I hope you all are writing this. Please be quick, everyone. So you need to write all the examples, and these are the types of crops. You can even get a note to write, like for 2 marks, write a note on types of crops. Okay. After this types of crops, now here we have some of the pictures where different types of crops have been shown. And after this types of crops, the next thing that we have is crop season, right? So I've already taught you about crop season. We have two different seasons, and the reason is because different types of crops require different season, right, for their proper growth. So different crops require different condition, temperature and photo period for growth and maturity, and on the basis of the requirement we grow them during summer season, rainy season or winter season, right? So on the basis of this, on the basis of the requirement of the plant, we have two different seasons to study and two types of crops to discuss. That is kharif crop and the other one is rabi crop. Okay, now what is kharif crop? The crop which are grown during rainy season, and that is mostly from June to October. We know that rainy season lasts from June till September, right? So that is called as kharif crop. And examples of kharif crop include paddy, soya bean, black gram, moong, maize, cotton, groundnut. These are all paddy crops that we have. Okay, sorry, these are all kharif crop that we have. After this kharif crop, the next thing that we have is rabi crop, and rabi crop includes like the crops which we grow during winter season. That is after rainy season. That is from November to April. So June to October, we are growing kharif crop, and from November to April, we grow rabi crop. And the example of rabi crop includes wheat, gram, mustard, linseed, barley. Okay, so these are example of rabi crop. So here we complete discussing about the crop season. Always remember, we have two different crop seasons. The first one is the kharif crop and the other one is the rabi crop. You should be knowing the examples along with the months in which they have been grown. That is kharif from June to October, and rabi crops from November to April. Now once you complete writing about this kharif and rabi crop, we will be discussing on how we can improve the crop, like quality of the crop, because as we discussed earlier in the introduction part, that because the population is increasing, the demand for the food crop is also increasing, and we have to come up with certain improve, like with some techniques so that it can be improved, right? So I want each one of you to please write about this kharif and rabi crop in your book, and then we'll proceed further. I hope every one of you are writing this. Now, after this, next thing that we need to discuss is about crop, like how can we improve the crop yield, right? So, crop yield can be improved by three main activities. We have to perform three main activities so that the crop yield can be increased. The first thing that we have is crop variety improvement. After crop variety improvement, we have the next thing as crop production improvement. And then lastly, we have crop protection improvement. Okay. So these are the three different techniques that we are going to use to improve the, you can say, yield of the crop. Okay. So just write this and then we will study further, everyone. I hope you all wrote these three main activities. Now we will be discussing in detail about all the three. Okay, so the first thing that we have is crop variety improvement. So under this crop variety improvement, it can be done by selecting good varieties of crop. So over here under this part, what we are going to do is we are going to select a good variety of crop. After doing a good selection, we can for this what we need to do, we need to carry out a process called hybridization, and in this process genetically dissimilar plants will be crossed, okay, to obtain crop having some desirable or useful characteristics. And this useful characteristics can be like the plant is disease resistant, it is a good quality plant, okay, and it also has high yield, right? See, now this hybridization, if you remember, we have discussed in the last class where I told you that hybridization can be of three types. It can be intervarietal, it can be interspecific or intergeneric, right? So if it is interspecific, it's going to interspecific is going to be between different species. If it is intervarietal, then it will be between different varieties, and intergeneric will be between different genera. So this hybridization process can help us in improving the variety of the crop, and these three types of hybridization can be carried out. Okay, now apart from a hybridization, another way of improving the crop variety is by introducing a gene to obtain the desired characteristic. Now I want certain desired characteristic in my plant, so what I will do, whatsoever the plant is, if the plant has the desired characteristic which I want, what will I do? I'll take the gene from the plant and I'll insert it to another plant. So this is called as genetically modified crops. What do we call this as? We call this as genetically modified crop. Okay. So I want you all to please write all the important information from the screen. There are a lot more, like many different examples which I find which are very important. So please write them, everyone. I hope every one of you are writing this. I hope every one of you have written this. Now, next thing that we have is crop variety improvement is done for the following reason. Because there is certain reason for which the crop has been improved, right? So the first reason that has been stated is to get higher yield. So if because we want to have higher yield of the crop, right? So for that, for improving the yield of the crop, we are increasing the productivity, and that is one of the reason why like crop variety should be improved. Second reason is biotic and abiotic resistance, so that our plants, they are resistant from biotic components like insects, diseases, and pests. And the other one is a biotic factor, which includes heat, cold, salinity, frost. So we have to make our crop resistant to all this. So for that reason, also we are improving the quality of the crop. Then change in maturity duration. Okay, so we have to make sure that the duration between sowing and harvesting can be reduced, because once that has been done, it will become easier for the farmer to grow a certain crop in a year. So we have to make sure that the maturity duration is getting reduced. Okay, then wider adaptability to grow crops in different climatic conditions, as we are going to grow different crops during summer season, different crops during winter and rainy season. So for that reason, wider adaptability. Then desirable agronomic characters. Now we want that our plant should be tall, it should have more branches, and we want dwarfness for cereal crop. Also always remember this, that we want tallness for fodder crops and we want dwarfness for cereal crops. So you should be knowing this. Then after this we have the last thing, that is improved quality. So the baking quality of wheat, preserving quality of fruits and vegetables, oil quality of oil seeds. We have to make sure that we do it, right? I hope every one of you are writing this. Now, once you are done writing this, now next thing that we will be discussing on is crop production management, but I will be continuing with that in the next part. So everyone, please make sure that you have understood whatever you wrote till now for this in this part. Okay. Now after this, in the next part I will be starting with the crop production management. After crop production management, we will be discussing on macronutrient, micronutrient under that, and then we will be discussing about manure, what exactly manure is. After manure, we have the next thing to discuss, that is fertilizer. So we will be discussing about fertilizer in detail. Then after fertilizers, we have animal husbandry to discuss in detail. Okay, then after animal husbandry, we have cattle farming to discuss. We will be discussing on this cattle farming as well. After cattle farming, we have poultry farming. Okay, so we will be discussing on poultry farming as well. Then after poultry farming, the next thing that we have is egg and broiler production, because ultimately we are dependent on plant source and an animal source, right? So we will be discussing on egg and broiler production. Then we have fish production to discuss in detail, and under this fish production, the first thing that we have is marine fisheries to discuss. After marine fishery, the next thing that we have is inland fisheries. Then after inland fisheries, we have beekeeping to discuss, and then after beekeeping, we have the summary discussion for the whole lesson that we will be doing in short. Okay, and after summary, we have few questions which has been given. So I want you all to please go through this question quickly. I hope every one of you are going through the screen, going through the question that I'm showing you all. So this is how we will be like ending up with the whole lesson, and I hope that every one of you have understood whatever we have discussed in this part of the lesson, improvement in food resources. Now the rest of the part that we are left with, I'm going to continue that in the next part. Thank you everyone.